San Diego Comic-Con is upon us, but I don't think San Diego Comic-Con is the best con that you could go to. And today, we're going to talk about the alternative that might just be better. Stay tuned and let's talk about it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota, here with my co-host, Jordan, and our very special guest, the creator, the founder, and the host of ChrisCon. Chris himself is here joining us today.
Hi, everybody.
So I let us in with San Diego Comic-Con might not be the best Comic-Con you can go to, and admittedly, I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con myself. I've been to New York Comic-Con. It's probably similar. But I personally enjoy the smaller shows, and I think that's where ChrisCon fits really well, because while the spectacle of New York and San Diego Comic-Con can be a sight to behold, I don't feel like I go there and I'm making connections, I'm not meeting people, I'm not building friendships. The community still feels very segmented, even though we're all in the same building. I feel like when I go to smaller conventions, like I've had a booth at Legion's Con the last couple of years, and I know your convention is similar in this way, you go there and you actually meet the people that are either doing the custom figures, you meet the vendors, you meet you yourself that's putting on the convention. And to me, I feel like that builds a much stronger sense of community. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've been to San Diego Comic-Con twice. I've been to New York Comic-Con. I can't even tell you how many times. As many times as I've had it, I think. And I love those. I love them. But to your point, you know, it's hard to meet other collectors. And a big part of the show that we're doing came out of us just wanting to meet fellow collectors. And, you know, just to give you a little bit of history, a couple of years ago, you know, I got on Instagram and started posting pictures of my stuff, and I started reaching out to some other local collectors. I saw people lived in the area, and I said, hey, do you guys want to come over to my house, you know, next weekend and bring some figures and we'll talk toys? So we started out with like 4 guys, then it went to like 6 or 7 guys, and they'd come over like every other month, and we were having a great time. We said, hey, how can we meet some other people? And we said, hey, how about we do like a collector meetup? And so one of our buddies at the time, you know, was part owner of a comic shop. So he said, okay, I can host it. It was actually 2020. It was the first week of February 2020, right before they shut everything down. We scheduled this thing, and we got 20 collectors to show up. And we didn't really have vendors. We had some people showing some customs, and we had some figures, and it was just like a meetup at the thing. So we met like 20 new people. And, you know, we kind of got their names and stuff, and people really enjoyed it. So we went into COVID, and the next year in 2021, we were still in COVID, and people were like, hey, let's do it again. Let's do the collector meetup again. So I said, how about we do it at my house? We'll do it outside. Like, I'll open the garage, we'll put some stuff in the garage, and we'll have it in the driveway, in the backyard. So we put tables out, and that was the first year we actually had some vendors. We had some local guys who had some 3D printed stuff. We had some guys just selling some figures that they had. We also had some displays and stuff. And we did it out of my garage. And then the third year, I said, let me look. I'm going to look at getting like a hotel ballroom. Let's do this real. And then my buddy started saying, hey, are you doing ChrisCon again? I'm like, what do you mean ChrisCon? I'm like, it's called the Action Figure Collector Meetup. And they're like, nah, it's ChrisCon. I'm like, whatever, you know. Over the years, it sort of has morphed from the Action Figure Collector Meetup, which was very clunky, into this ChrisCon, they call it.
It rolls off the tongue a little better.
Yeah, it does have a much better ring to it, Chris. You gotta admit. So,
well, one of my buddies in the group, his daughter came up with an acronym. She came up with Chris means collectors have really interesting stuff. So
I like it.
I can only say it stands for that and not my name.
Yeah.
So we went, so that was 2022. We got a hotel ballroom. That's when we reached out to Jeremy Gerard, who lives local. He's in Rhode Island. And we said, hey, would you like to participate, with the Four Horsemen and come. And he's like, hey, it's really close to my house. I live like 30 minutes from there. I'd love to do a local show up here in the Northeast. So he came and he set up and he had, all the figures like the Four Horsemen lineup that you see at like Legion's Con and some of these other shows. And he loved it because it's close to his house and he had some customs. And we also reached out to Bobby Valla at Valaverse, who also lives in Rhode Island. And he was like, yeah, I'll do the show. So he set up and he has his lineup. So those are kind of our two anchors we've had over the years. And the show has just sort of grown from there to the point where this year we're doing it. And I'm kind of calling it ChrisCon Presents the Great American Toy Show. And we're kind of morphing it into like a kind of a full vendor show. But in a way, it's a lot different from the typical vendor show that you go to. Most of the vendor shows you go to, people have Marvel Legends and DC, and it's like the same booth over and over, which is fine, which is great. But what we do that sets us apart is we have like a lot of creators, like a lot of people that make stuff, like 3D printed things, artwork, painted head sculpts, like stuff that you see at Legion's Con, things similar to that. But just to promote the show quick for anybody watching, the show is coming up. It's on Saturday, July 19th. It's in Taunton, Massachusetts. It's at the Taunton Conference Center, which is at 700 Miles Standish Boulevard. We're like halfway between Boston and Providence. So we're like a great New England show. If you're in Massachusetts, come. If you're in Rhode Island, you can come. If you're in Connecticut, you can come. New Hampshire is only an hour away. I got lots of people coming from New Hampshire. We got people coming from New York, New Jersey. So, and like I said, we're about the farthest north that the kind of the Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions guys go and the Valaverse guys go. So it gives a whole new audience for those people to see those figures and experience that booth. But getting back to the creative thing, so one of the guys we have coming this year, he's never had a table at a toy show. His name is Jason Grimm. Yeah, Jason Grimm Art. And he makes things like this.
Oh, wow.
This
That's
is
the Doc Knock.
This is
Nice.
the Doc Knock
Helicopter, right?
Gyrocopter.
Yeah.
And if you got Doc Knock, you got the comic with it.
Right.
And in the comic, he flies around in this gyrocopter. And I remember
Damn.
seeing this, and I was like, I have to build one of those. Like, that thing's amazing. I need to get like a milk jug or something. Well, Jason Grimm, he makes these and sells them. I got one of these, and I reached out, and it turns out he lives in Lowell, Massachusetts. So I said, hey, I'm doing this show in July. Do you want to come? And he's like, I've never done a show. I'm like, it's easy. I'm like, bring a bunch of these. You'll sell them like hotcakes.
Yeah.
This thing's $115. It comes all with the colors, all printed and painted. So he's knocking off a bunch of these he's going to have at the show. And then it doesn't come with Doc Knock, but if you need Doc Knock, I'm selling an extra Doc Knock. But he's going to be selling these along with other 3D printed stuff. So this is stuff like you're not going to get at Target. You're not going to get at Walmart. You're not really even going to find it sometimes online. But you're going to be able to go see it in person, like pick it up. It's got like little removable magnetic missiles on it. The whole dashboard there lights up. It comes with like LEDs in it. The machine gun goes. This goes. The whole front. So we love having stuff like this. That, like I said, this guy's never done a show before. He's never been at anything. Nothing. So if you come, you're going to be able to get some stuff like this.
As soon as you brought out Doc Nocturnal, Jordan was, I'm sure, just...
I was all in there, Chris.
Yeah.
I
you like
think
that,
there's...
Doc?
Oh, yeah. There you go, right here. So I got him there. But, yeah, I think there's so many cool accessories and things like that you could do with him that, it's like Mezco, it'd be very hard for them to put out something like that, just, with
Well,
the
they're
nature
supposed to
of
put
it
out
and-
his car. They had his car on display at New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
But this week they already launched that armored vehicle instead. And I've never seen that before, but they held back Doc Knock's car. But like I said, if you got a Doc Knock fix, you can get one of these.
Yeah.
And
knowing
put 'em
Mezco,
in there.
I would assume that you could get it cheaper from him than you could from actual Mezco, even if they did ever put that out.
Oh yeah,
And-
this would be $300 for Mezco.
right, exactly.
Sure.
$250, $300. And yeah, like I said, these are a lot cheaper from him. So, and then speaking of the armored cars, like I said, Bobby Valla is going to be there. So he sells his Vanguard vehicle. So he brings those. He's got all the different colors now. He's got the sand color. He's got the black color and all that. And again, if you're a GI Joe collector, I mean, he does stuff like this.
Oh,
You know, this is the Bone Collector. I don't know if you collect any of the Valorverse stuff,
I have not taken that dive yet.
but look at the bullets coming out of
That
this
looks
thing.
awesome.
You know, the mask comes off.
wow.
You know,
Man.
I'm a big GI Joe collector, and when you run out of buying GI Joes, you know these fit in perfectly. They're
Yeah.
better. In many ways, they're better.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, so he sets at his booth. He's got a bunch of stuff. I know these are popular. The Praetorian Guards. I don't know if you've seen these at all.
Yeah, those look good. I do love a
Online.
translucent figure and accessory, all that. So that
Yeah, but he also sells stuff like this. These head packs. This
okay.
is $20 at his booth,
wow.
Wow.
and you get 10 heads. I don't know how well you can see them, but
It's a steal.
Yeah, for
yeah, it's a steal for $20.
$2 a head. That's pretty high quality.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So so he'll be there. Four Horsemen Studios, the other, you know, big seller that everybody's asking about, they'll have the Barbarian there.
Oh, nice.
So that's
Oh,
another big draw. Everybody loves the Barbarian. And he comes with 3 different hairdos, right? He comes with the
Right.
black, the blonde, and like the red. So you got him. They have they also have these guys from the Necronominus wave.
Yeah.
So they'll have them. I love this. This is my favorite actually from the wave.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So they have those guys. But on top of that, like I said, you know, we have a lot of the Mythic Legions adjacent vendors. So this year, for the first time, we're going to have another company that was at Legions Con, Borderland Horde Customs. So they do 3D printed, pre-painted heads. So if you're into Cosmic Legions, they have a lot of Cosmic stuff. But
Oh,
they
that's
made
cool.
this shark head that they put on a Cosmic Legion.
I like that.
Yeah, that just takes it to another level. And they have a whole table full of these. And you just stand there like in awe at the art that they do. This is another one I picked up from those guys. I love them. Every time I see them at a show, I buy something. You know,
Yeah.
another one. Just
That's
if,
really
if you
cool.
bought a bunch of these red guys, which I bought 3 of them,
Yep.
but they all
I
look
got
the same.
2.
So then I'll pick up another head like this and make a whole nother character. You know, this dude smoking a cigar.
Yeah. That does add a lot more character.
And then the other thing too. So they also started making these.
Oh,
So
cool.
this is like a 3D printed like sword bearing wolf.
Yeah.
It scales with Mythic Legions, all hand painted. The head is you know kind of on there, articulated. You can move it around. This whole back piece comes off. You want to take that off, and you can switch it. I think they have other pieces, and then this sword actually comes out. It's got a big wolf head on the hilt of the sword.
Nice.
But like stuff like this, again, these craftsmen that are making this stuff, you know, at home in their homes and selling it, and like I said, it's if you're out every day and you're looking at the wall at Target, like I am,
Right.
and you're
Yeah.
seeing the same Spider-Man and the same Iron Man, and then you go to a show and you see something like this, you know, granted it's a little more pricey, but these are like showpieces for your collection, you know.
Right. And the craftsmanship is in it. You can tell, like you said, it's all hand painted. They're putting a lot of effort into each piece.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, so there are going to be a ton of Legions vendors. So, like I said, because the show is so far north, a lot of these guys are excited because they get a whole audience that they've never experienced before. And another big thing that we do that I forgot to mention is the very first show. What I started doing is we do name tags. So I have a whole table when you come in with name tags, and I encourage everybody put your name, but not just your name. Put like your Instagram handle, your YouTube channel, your whatever it is you're known by. Like me, if I'm the I'll put Chris, but I'll put the Collector 77, and people will be like, "Oh, you're the I follow you online," and I can't tell you how many people because they don't take pictures of themselves or
Right.
post them on Instagram. Like, I'll go to these shows, and then I'll bump into people, and I'll be like, I know you. You're Hidden Level Toys, or you're whoever you are online, and you get to meet them face to face. And a lot of people exchange information and have become friends and started talking to each other. And I've met a ton of people over the last, 5 years doing this, which is a big part of why I like the show, because we can meet other people, And like you said, going to, like, San Diego and New York, you're surrounded by 100,000 people, and you'll
Right.
leave there, you wouldn't have met anybody. You
Yep.
know?
You're just another face in the crowd, and everybody
Yeah,
else is just the crowd. So yeah, it definitely
right.
gets harder to meet. But that is a good idea to, be able to put names to faces, and I think just
Mhm.
the name tag in general seems like a more friendly environment to walk around and like get to know the people that you're surrounded by.
Yeah, people love it. Like I said, because like I said, they're suddenly like face to face with somebody that they may have been following for years, or
Hmm.
may have even been communicating with online, and just never put a human face to that other person.
Right.
And like I said, our group has grown over the years. We've brought in different people just to our little collector group from doing that. So it's been a lot of fun.
I was gonna say
I
you
just
probably have a lot of repeat like customers or people that come back each year because they actually get to know the people that they're coming back to see.
Yeah, exactly. And people get excited for it. We've had people, come up to me after the show and say, "Hey, this is the best convention I've ever been to." Because it's just so different because we have stuff like this that is just not your regular stuff. It opens them up to a whole new world, whether it's Mythic Legions or Valaverse or something completely different like that Knock
Hmm.
helicopter. They may see that and not even know what mezcos are. So
Right.
people don't even know that those are out there and be like, what is this whole world you're exposed to?
I was gonna
So
say
yeah,
too,
we,
like
we've
with those smaller vendors and like even with Four Horsemen, like Four Horsemen's big, but they're not human. They're not like Hasbro or something like that, where you can walk up to probably any of the vendors at your convention, and you're going to be talking to the person that probably had some sort of hand in whatever's on the table. And I think that's a big thing of whenever we went to New York Comic Con, it's like you're probably just talking to salesmen there, and their
right.
job is to make you want whatever product or thing that they've got going on, or it's just here's just a whole bunch of toys, like come buy something. And maybe they'd be a collector, but it's much more of like you got to make money to be at those shows. These smaller, more intimate things, it's like you can talk to them. They're like, how did you paint that thing? And they want to tell you about it because they're passionate about it. So you can actually meet the people that you're buying things from. And I think that's super cool.
Yeah, exactly. And to your point, Jeremy Gerard comes every year. And last year we had a couple of the folks, or 2 years ago we had a couple of the different folks from Four Horsemen Studios who were there, and people were asking about upcoming figures and different design points. And the other guy who's great at that is Bobby Valla. I mean, if you watch any of his YouTube videos, he's such an insightful person when it comes to the action figure design and creation, just all of his life experience coming from Hasbro and some of the other places that he's worked, where you can walk right up to him and talk to him and find out what he's working on. I know he's working on a mech suit now. So he'll probably be happy to talk about that, and he's got a couple other big things in the works. He just announced an exclusive Legions Con figure that there's some pictures making the rounds online. So maybe he'll have some samples of that. I don't know. But yeah, you can walk right up and just talk to these people and then buy their stuff for the lowest prices, too.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about their tables.
Mm-hmm.
Another vendor I'll show you, too. So, one of the other big things that we're into, too, are dioramas. We have a lot of guys who do action figure photography. So, this is by a group called Duarte Studios. So, they're another big vendor that always goes to Legions Con, but they've been coming to our show, too. And again, this is another one where this is kind of like the farthest north they go. They're out of Long Island, and this is a diorama I bought from them a couple of years ago. But they're bringing a whole bunch of stuff like this to sell at the show, and they have Mythic Legions type stuff that's fantasy, but they also have more modern stuff that goes with the Valaverse stuff. Things like gunnery towers and landscaping and mailboxes and just different cityscape stuff as well. He also makes things like this little hand cart here
Oh, cool.
that I bought at Legions Con. It's all painted up. But you could pick up something like this to go with your Mythic Legions
Mm-hmm.
and just really make it pop on your shelf. Or if you're an action figure photographer, just putting this in the background with some figures in front of it.
Hmm.
He also sells other little stuff like some other stuff I bought over the years, like these little tables and stools and things. If you want to make a pub scene or a little dia with your guys sitting on there, just unique stuff that
Mm-hmm.
just fun accessories to go with your figures. So love those guys. They've been doing the show, like I said, for a couple years now, and he's cranking out stuff. So I asked him what he's bringing, and he's like, "I'm bringing everything." So that I'm excited about. So he's got a couple of
Yep.
tables.
Get
and
ready.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that is super cool because at Legion's Con last year, I think Dakota may remember one of my favorite things I got. It was just a tree stump, but it was like a guy, like he'd cut it, made a cardboard or styrofoam, and it was like painted. And
Yeah.
my wife thought it was super cool too, so we snagged it. And just little things like that. That, like you said, you're not necessarily going to be getting those in big releases or in
Nope.
major things, but because you have fans, like us who are sitting around thinking, oh, that would be cool to do. And it's way less of that commercial, I got to sell a whole bunch of these, and you get that.
Right.
I'm sure that handcrafted piece is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they're all hand painted. And these guys are artists. They're they've been doing it for years. Another Dio guy we have coming for the first time is another guy. He's on Instagram. He's as Al Figures, AL Figures. So he's a buddy of ours who lives locally. I reached out to him. He lives a couple of towns away, and I invited him to one of our meetups at my house a couple of months ago. And he makes dioramas out of foam too, but he makes a lot of cityscape stuff. So he makes like bodegas and little city scenes with doors and sidewalk pieces and things like that, or back alley pieces. So he came to the house and he brought a couple things. And the same thing, I said, hey, we're going to do a show again in July. You should get a table. He's never gotten a table before. He's never sold like that before, but he's like, you know what? I'm going to try it. So he's been cranking out stuff too. So if you go to his Instagram, he's got a bunch of photos of different things that he's going to bring. That again, it's like stuff you're not going to find anywhere, but you can fit it on your shelf. You get a cool bodega, you can put like a Gomez figure on there, or any of the Action Force stuff, GI Joe figures, Marvel Legends figures. If you want to have Spider-Man on there in front of some bodega, fighting like Rhino or something. But just I love like having cool vendors like that, because I've been going to shows for years, and like I said, sometimes I go to these shows and it says it's like a toy show, but there's like 10 toy vendors, and then there's 10 comic vendors, and then there's 10 guys selling autographed pictures of the Bionic Woman
And then
from and it's all this stuff,
energy drink
great.
booths.
Yeah.
And I probably have a couple autographed pictures of the Bionic Woman here somewhere, but when I go to a toy show,
Right.
I kind of want figures and play sets and vintage stuff and modern stuff and all that. So that's kind of really the focus of what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that was kind of our experience at the New York Comic Con. I remember where we went, and it was a lot of that more commercial type stuff where it's like this is almost like 10, maybe 15% comics at this point. Whether it's mainly
New York
movies
is
or
way
shows,
down. It's that
or
little section in the front.
like guys, I don't know. It's almost like you're in a mall selling phone booths or something. I'm like, what happened here? I'm here for the nerdy stuff. So yeah, I think keeping that smaller is such a cool way to keep that going and really provide what I think people think of when you're thinking of a true Comic Con or Toy Con.
Yeah. I'll share with you too. Another vendor we have coming this year is Damian Blake. D Blake Makes. So he makes shelf signs. So if you collect stuff, like if you have like Hulk figures, Lord of the Rings shelf, Thundercats, he prints and hand paints these little shelf signs. So I put these on my shelves with all my different figures. I have this on my Lord of the Rings collection, and he's got every brand you can imagine. I have all those Indiana Jones figures, so I had this up on my Indiana Jones wall for a while. But you name it, and he makes it. The Mandalorian, Marvel Legends. So he's got a shelf sign for basically any toy line, going back to Smurfs, Star Wars, you name it. I got one for Shogun Warriors. So he's been at Legion's Con. He does New Jersey Toy Con a lot, and I finally talked him into coming up from New Jersey up to Boston to our show to do it. So he'll be there on the 19th selling these, and he's cranking out new stuff. Every time you turn around, he's making something new. So he's a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys have ever seen his booth or bought any of his stuff from him.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like it feels like something that's just so almost unnecessary, but it's like as soon as you hold those up, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I love it. I want that.
He's got Mezco.
Oh, that's cool.
I got a Gomez one I got to put up. Yeah, I buy a couple from him every time I see him, and they're all over. I was like looking today. I'm like, oh, I got a Kenner one over there. I got Marvel Legends. I got G.I. Joe. I got Shogun Warriors. I'm like, what else? I'm like, oh, I don't have a Transformers one. All right, I'll get that.
You're gonna fill up the whole toy room, and you're gonna have to be like, all right, I need signs for my kitchen, like plates and
Right,
cups.
Yeah, right. He'll start doing those next.
Right.
Another guy, another great artist. So we're doing figures, we're doing dios and all that stuff. So I got another guy. His name is Chris Pradena. So if you go on Instagram, he's Chris Pradena Art. So what he does is he paints oil paintings of action figures and
Oh
toys.
yeah, I was just watching a YouTube video, and they were showing off these. These look amazing. I love
So
them.
this is one of his
Wow.
paintings. This is actually an oil painting. So he does photorealistic painting, and you can see there, he's got Castle Grayskull, he's got Mazinger, and a couple of Shogun Warriors in the back, Guy King. He's got Optimus Prime. But this is an oil painting that he did. Now this is a print of one of his paintings. He has the originals; they're bigger, and he sells some of the originals. But he also sells these prints too. You can get these really inexpensive a print. Throw it in a $3 Walmart frame. I have this and another one on the staircase coming down to my room here in the basement. That's where I keep all my pictures. But again, kind of toy adjacent art. Mm-hmm. And he was another one. He'd never really done a toy show before our show a couple of years ago, and he's coming back again this year. And if you follow him on Instagram, he's painting new stuff like every other week. He's doing something new. I'll show you another one I got the last time he was up. Is this one of Grimlock,
Yeah.
where he's kind of stomping on the cassettes there. But what he'll do is he'll put the toys out in his art studio, just put them out in a pile or just like this, pose them, and then paint it. And like I said, he does photorealistic. It's hard to tell that it's a painting, but
Right.
so he'll have all his stuff there. He puts it all out, like all his paintings on the wall, and then he has bins you can go through with different size prints and things like that. So just a lot of fun. And again, it's another one of these vendors that I just love because it's stuff that I love. Everything on that picture I pretty much collect, and it's a piece of art, so.
Right.
And Dakota's always talked about the displays being a piece of art. He doesn't collect art, but he's got toy displays, and with that, Dakota, it's irrefutable that it's
Exactly.
that action figures are art. So,
Yeah.
nobody can push back on that. That is super talented, though. Stuff like that is so cool. Like, you're not gonna. Where are you gonna find stuff like that?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm in
The
a
other
bus
guy-
right now, but as soon as I have actual walls and things to put things on, I'm gonna need some of those for sure.
I think he has postcard size ones too. He might. I don't know.
Nice.
Oh, the other guy too is Sir Dork is coming. Jared Middleton. He's based out of he's in Albany, New York, and he's on YouTube as well. He's got a very big YouTube channel where he shows you how he sets up these photographs. Like he'll set up the figures of like Superman or Batman or Star Wars figures. Then he'll use like firecrackers or fans and things to blow dirt and make explosions and take these amazing photos. So he's coming. This is his second year coming, and he brings prints of his photos that you can buy in different sizes, or you can just talk to him. Like a lot of people just want to talk to him and ask him about the action figure photography and how he does his craft and stuff. So he's another pretty cool guy that we have coming, who's a vendor. He's an artist. He's also a YouTuber, social media guy. So he kind of hits all the buttons for various people and everyone there. But and a great person too, just a really nice person in general. Like I said, this is second year he's been with us, but I follow him online, and he's a really good guy.
Nice. I've been telling Jordan I want to set up some sort of, I don't know if it'll be a Strong Collectors Con. I've been throwing around the idea of a Strong Collectors Cruise, where we all like get on a boat, go down to the Bahamas, and bring our
good.
toys with us to the beach. So
Yeah.
maybe we're a
Always
few
bring
years
toys
off of
on
that,
vacation.
but
Tropical toys.
yeah.
Yeah, then one of the other things too we're going to have, speaking of YouTubers and stuff, we always have Dan Larson, who's local in New Hampshire, Toy Galaxy or Secret Galaxy. He's been on the History Channel with I think it was the Toys That Made America. So he's going to come down. He has a table. He's also going to be selling stuff out of his personal collection. So he's a great guy to talk to, very approachable. You can get a picture with him. You know, people like him because he's been on TV, and if you watch his YouTube channel too, he's just got such a broad spectrum of stuff between action figures and pop culture stuff and 80s content, but just a really interesting, fun person, and just a cool guy to meet and talk to. The other big YouTuber we have in this year for the first time is Articulated Ninja. I don't know if you guys follow him at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's coming. So he's going to actually have a table this year. He actually came to our last one a year and a half ago. But this year he's going to have a table there set up where he's going to do kind of a meet and greet with people where you can talk to him. And again, amazing action figure photographer, his stuff. I love his content. You know, it's very down to earth. It's very supportive of the community when you watch it. He does a lot of stuff on mental health for people too that I love. But just another just really great person that is going to be cool for people to meet there. And then another returning YouTuber that we have is Dork Layer, who's Bill, who's big in the community. So again, he's in New Hampshire. He's been to my house a couple times. He's sort of part of our collector group as well. Because actually, he's not in New Hampshire. I'm sorry. He's in Massachusetts here, but kind of north of Boston. So he's part of our collector group. So he'll have a table there. He'll be selling some stuff, and again, kind of talking to fans and things like that, and meeting people. So again, it's somebody who, if you live in Massachusetts, you know, maybe you knew he was around, but now you sort of get the opportunity to walk up and talk to him and tell him, you know, that you like his content, or, you know. So it's it's just become that much more than just a toy show or even a convention. It's more of a, like I said, this collector meetup of like-minded people, where you can get stuff that you just can't get anywhere else. So, I mean, we talked a lot about kind of independent creators and, you know, handcrafted things and sort of these very niche companies. But if you're a Marvel Legends collector, if you're a Star Wars collector, if you're a G.I. Joe collector, there's still going to be a ton of vendors selling all that stuff at the show. So we've got a lot of guys, and I'll mention there's another guy who's a friend of mine who has been collecting for 20 years. He's never done a show. He's always bought between 2 and 5 of everything for 20 years. And he's doing his first show. He's bringing everything. G.I. Joe's, like everything you can imagine. And one of the things he just got, he ordered multiples of the Cobra Rattler. So we will have a Cobra Rattler, the HasLab, on sale at the show. At least one, maybe more. I don't know.
Maybe 4.
He bought several of them. So one of our vendors will have a Cobra Rattler. And like I said, he's got 20 years of stuff that he's bought multiples of that he's going to unload. So, and we also have another company, Empire Toy Shop. They were at, he was at Legion's Con as well, who sells a little bit of everything online. And, you know, you'll be able to find any of the modern brands that you're looking for as well. So it's a little bit of everything. And Mezco stuff, and there's some import figure guys. I'm going to be selling a couple of Mezcos. I know another guy who's bringing a bunch of Mezcos to sell. So it's going to be a great show. You're going to be able to pick up great stuff. You're going to be able to meet people that maybe you've seen before and never talked to. You're going to be able to make some new friends. So just a great show. It's a ton of fun. It's July 19th. Taunton, Massachusetts. Come on down. The Taunton Conference Center.
Very cool.
And it's supposed to rain that day, so you have no excuse.
There you go. What else are you going to be doing? Go buy some toys.
What else are you going to be doing?
Go meet some people. Have some
rainy
fun.
Saturday.
Right. Well, there you have it, folks. Your new favorite convention to go to. Go check out ChrisCon. Go give him a subscribe on Instagram and all of the places you can follow him. Just really go see him in person. Go to his convention. Shake his hand. For us, you can like the video, you can share the video, you can subscribe, and until next time, stay strong.
So one other vendor that I forgot to mention who's been at all our shows is Detour Customs. So if anybody knows him, he's been at Legion's Con, but he makes things like this, like this ballista. That is just amazing. You know, stuff that, like I said, one of a kind. That works with Mythic Legions, but also works with like X-Ray Studios. I have a couple of those Roman Gladiator figures. Mm-hmm. He does stuff like this, and he also does 3D printed things like these weapons, like this massive sword. But Steph at Detour Customs, he's huge in the community. He's always posting online. He's a great guy. He's been with the show for several years, and he'll be back with all kinds of surprises. I think he's got a boat now that he's doing. So if you want a boat, come and check it out.